some of the local residents in the CBD are without water and electricity. The city has, although marshaled resources to ensure that during this time of these cut-offs that are necessary, because we have not yet reached a level where there's 0% of gas levels that exist. Until such a time, and until such a time that the experts declare the area safe, we are unable to reconnect. And this is primarily because we prioritize the lives of our people beyond anything else that we are expected to do. Although it borders on their service delivery and human rights, but we need to ensure that we prioritize their safety first. I am satisfied as the executive. Not only am I satisfied, but I am grateful to the officials in the city of Johannesburg in the manner in which they have responded to this particular challenge. Not much has been portrayed of the good that has been done in the city of Johannesburg, and it's not correct, because most of the officials that are on the ground hardly get any sleep. They are facing or working under dangerous conditions. They are putting their lives at stake to ensure that we bring a solution and we put an end to the suffering of the residents that are in the high-rise buildings that are behind us. In the main, as the executive, we're here to say to the administration that we recognize your hard work. We recognize the efforts of the team. We appreciate the constant communication, and from the Department of Human Settlement, MMC, we appreciate the fact that you keep constant communication and you get a sense of challenges beyond that of service delivery that the residents are facing. To the MMC of Public Safety, we appreciate the police presence in the area. And I would also want to continue to urge the public to steer clear from this cordoned area. Their safety is of paramount importance. But we are here to ensure that we finalize the processes in the shortest space of time possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and MMCs. Good afternoon. From our side, we used most part of the day to be in our JOC meeting, whereby we're trying to jot out a specific plan on how we will ensure that we restore water and electricity. We work quite closely with the Department of Labour. We were on site today on fact-finding. We can report to you that we've now managed to find ourselves. We are now clear on the approach that we are taking forward. We, as the Executive Mayor indicated, indeed we might not be able to restore water and electricity at this point, and mainly due to the fact that there are certain parts on the strip, on this road, that is not declared 100% safe. And as the accounting officer as well, it becomes very difficult for us to send in our people into an unsafe environment. We request the community, the residents in the area, to really bear with us. We do have and we do feel the pressure from their side, and we understand that indeed that they are without electricity for a number of days and water. But we want to reiterate that we will continue to have our water tankers here, our JoJo tanks are here. We will continue with the servicing of the chemical toilets. Mr. Mayor, we are also providing food to the people out here through different NGOs and so on, and that will continue, and we're going to ramp that up as we are moving along. There's a lot of work that we've done even with City Power. We are confident once the place is declared safe, we will be able to deploy our teams in. We considered all sorts of alternatives, but it's becoming difficult in terms of the capacity. We now know it's about 2,820 households that are affected in this area with regard to electricity in this particular area. But we can confidently say to you, the modeling and everything is taking place. We will continue with the technology that we have deployed, and we will be restoring the services here. But we ask you once more, you'll see that the area is barricaded now. On the fence is up through JRA, the barricade with SEPs. We will conclude the fence by tomorrow. But for residents to stay away from those barricaded areas, there's a reason why we've barricaded. from tomorrow, as we are moving, Mr. Mayor, there will be a zero tolerance in our approach for any illegal vehicles. We will be impounding those vehicles, and we will be ensuring that our law enforcement enforce the law in this particular area.
Colleagues, you can ask questions now. I'll indicate which media house you're from, and then pose the questions to the question.
Thank you.
There are no questions. So
there are
it's very
questions.
clear. That's all.
There's a
Okay.
question. Silindelo Masikane from eNCA. Mayor, if you could just maybe just clarify for us exactly what happened here. And who's going to take responsibility for what has transpired here? I do see a van from Joburg Gas. Are they taking responsibility? Is this their pipeline? We're still hearing speculation and rumors around exactly who does this pipe belong to. Are there going to be consequences? And do we know whether there have been any more injuries or deaths reported?
So, from the report that I received this afternoon, there's only one fatality that has been confirmed of a foreign national from Malawi. In terms of additional people that were injured in the incident itself, we are aware only of the 48. And from the 48, as indicated, I think there were 3 that remained in hospital that had P1 injuries. But I'm sure that our healthcare facilities are responding very well to restoring, because in the main they had broken limbs due to the explosion and the nature of the accidents that may have happened around them. That's the part on casualties and fatalities. Now, when we look at this situation for what it is, it's not a unique event that is isolated to the city of Johannesburg. There have been reports of it having happened in China and New York, and it's mainly a reaction from gas that is that happens from a combination of methane, oxygen, and a spark. The problem that we are facing, especially in the CBD, that is a major contributing factor to the stretch that we see, is the fact that our approach to manholes, because of the theft and vandalism, we found that some of the entities had sealed them off.
Yes.
And it creates immense pressure. And when it catches a spark and these consequences happen. Joburg Gas does have a pipeline that runs under the city, but we do not have conclusive evidence that their gas is involved in the reaction itself.
Yes.
We do not want to rush into a situation where we start talking about consequence management when we are unable to prove from conclusive evidence as to who has to take the responsibility. As the city of Johannesburg, we obviously care a lot about our residents. We care a lot about our stakeholders whose businesses have been affected, like the Taxi Association, for argument's sake. But until we are in a position to provide conclusive evidence as to exactly how did Joburg Gas contribute, or how did a pipeline from City Power contribute, or how did a pipeline from Joburg Water contribute towards the spark, we cannot be in a position to speculate and say that this particular entity or Joburg Gas will be held responsible. So it's a fact-finding mission that the administration has deployed service providers to achieve. Thank you.
Are we done? Okay.
Just to follow up, Mr. Mayor, I'm really failing to understand what you mean by it's still a fact-finding mission. Is this a gas explosion or not? Just answer that for me firstly. And then in the interim, we're in probably the height of some of the coldest weather we're seeing. People don't have electricity here. What are you doing to provide some warmth, some food? What services are actually here besides ablution facilities and water tankers?
I'm not sure if you want me to reiterate what has already been said about the responses that the city has deployed in the city of Johannesburg to the affected families. But I think technically when there was a response, it was indicated that it was gas, methane gas. So to answer your question, it was a gas. Gas was a contributing factor to the explosion.
The city manager had already explained some of the issues around other services that are deployed on the ground. Do you want the city manager to reiterate?
Yeah, so from the side of, like we've indicated, it's about 2,820 households that are affected in the area. We are working closely with other NGOs that are providing warm meals at night. So if you had to come around, I think it's about 6:30 or so, then you would start to see them queuing, and they are providing food. We are working quite closely with them, and we would also like to thank those NGOs and all other private businesses and companies that came forward. But we must indicate to you that our Department of Social Development and Human Settlements are playing a very critical role during this time. So we are providing food. You are right, indeed there's no electricity, and it's during the coldest period of time. This is called a disaster. It's something that we have not chosen to happen. What we can tell you is that, and assure you that the team that you see behind me and those that are on site, they are doing everything in their power. They are committed to this process. There are people here that have not slept for a number of hours and so on. So we will continue to do whatever we can do, but I will not deploy any official into an area that is unsafe.
Okay.
When do you plan to conclude your fact-finding mission? When can residents expect a report in terms of who is going to take responsibility, how many entities are going to take responsibility, and perhaps what is the recourse for those who have been injured? Is the city expecting to be sued?
So I'm unable to, in as much as I have a burning desire to preempt outcomes of an investigation, but I'm unable to at this point. I would like to see the city find a solution to this problem so that we can restore the power and the water supply for our people. The reason why the executive is here today is to get a determination as to whether what we are seeing being communicated is actually a true reflection on the ground. We understand that they are our hands on the ground, and we rely heavily on them. Our role is ceremonious. So we have to have a clear distinction between oversight and overreach. I cannot instruct the city manager now to give me the outcome of an investigation at this very moment. He's going to issue a complaint. Yeah. But for me to say I'm here, what is it that I can do with the executive authority to ensure that you have all the resources to find the evidence that is required in a short period of time is what I'm here to do. And I'm here with the relevant MMCs that can fast-track the processes, because that's what we can do at this point as the executive. But we are very much confident in our administrators, very much. As you can see, you don't have to ask anyone to see that they are on the ground. 24 hours. I mean, I to some degree feel sorry for them, because it is as if they are getting paid extra time. Do you get paid extra time? But for me, as the executive mayor, in fact, on behalf of the executive in the city of Johannesburg, I want to encourage them not to stop. I want to encourage them to keep demonstrating the administrative ability of the city of Johannesburg. We are a world-class African city, and we face a challenge that is on a global scale. And in resolving and finding a solutions to that particular problem, I would like to be proud of a team that is made up of all the administrators that are behind me. let alone the political leadership, but the administrators that don't get to be seen for the jobs that they do are the ones that I would like to remember in the future after we've found a comprehensive solution to the challenge that we are facing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor. I think we'll stop here with the Q&A so that the
investigation continues. Science. It takes time. Science.
Executive Mayor?
We don't believe, ne?
Well, there you have the end there of that media briefing and the question and answers from reporters, including my colleague Silindelo Masikane, just asking for some clarity, asking Mr. Gwamanda, the mayor of Johannesburg, for some clarity, and also Mr. Brink, the city manager. And they were able to answer in the way that they did. Silindelo, are you any clearer? Is it any clearer exactly what caused this? We understand it's gas, but whose gas was it? It's still unclear because there's an ongoing investigation, which we don't know when it will be concluded. Silindelo Masikane, they can't hear me at this stage. Looks like we've lost that connection, but we got the gist of what both the mayor and the city manager had to say. More than 2,800 households in that long stretch of Lilengoyi Street, formerly known as Bree Street, are being affected. There's no water, there's no electricity, and the city is doing its part in helping with the support of non-governmental organizations and some private entities to at least provide, among other needs, food to the people in that area. At this stage, the mayor said there's an ongoing investigation and to find out exactly which gas pipeline exploded. It looks like you've got Egoli Gas, and he mentioned City Power, and he also mentioned Joburg Water. So we're still a long way to know exactly what happened and when any work of any sorts will resume, and when power and water will be restored to those 2,800 odd households in that affected area of downtown Johannesburg. You're watching Today.